Hello there everybody, Sam's Trains here, welcome back to the railway and welcome back to the model railway news, this time for August. And good God, this year is going pretty fast, isn't it? Anyway, lots and lots of news for August. There's a couple of major new developments which I think should be pretty interesting to talk about. So sit back, relax, hope you enjoy it. Here comes the news for August. The first of those major new developments I talked about comes from Hornby, who have acquired complete ownership of Oxford Rail. Now, back in 2017, Hornby purchased a 49% stake in LCD, that's the company that owns Oxford Rail, but more recently they've purchased the remaining 51% of the company for £1.3 million, which means that Hornby now completely own Oxford and Oxford Rail, Oxford Diecast, all of the Oxford companies. Now, exactly what this means for Oxford products going forward is a little bit unclear at the moment. Are Oxford prices going to become more like Hornby prices? Are Oxford products going to become subject to Hornby's annoying tier system? That's a big question. Are Oxford products going to exist at all going forwards, or will they just become Hornby products? Time will have to tell on all of these. However, a spokesperson did say that opportunities exist for both businesses to work collaboratively together, which suggests that Oxford Rail isn't just going to be snuffed out or anything, so that's pretty good to hear. Moving on then, here's a look at Hornby's latest engine shed blog post. They did start by showing off the first P2 samples, which I think a lot of people will be quite excited by. It's nothing too advanced at the moment, it's just these 3D printed samples, and these are basically done before the tooling commences, just to check all the physical fits of the components and just to make sure all the general dimensions are right before the expensive tooling process begins. And it's also useful to have these objects in physical form away from the CAD software, just to pick out any potential issues before they become too serious. They've showed samples for both the streamlined and the unstreamlined variants, which do use the same chassis apparently, and as you can see they do look pretty good. I particularly love the fact that they've actually used the wheel set from the old Hornby P2 that they did a few years ago, so quite fascinating that the chassis are obviously going to be quite similar. I'd be interested to see whether the chassis are actually different or whether they're reusing the old chassis. I'm guessing they will have been retooled because the old chassis wasn't that high quality, but yeah, very interesting. It's raising questions on the P2 that I'd love to be able to answer. So it's an exciting project. Let's wait and see how it develops. Now, I've already showed you a lot of Hush Hush or W1 samples on this news show before, but Hornby's latest samples do actually show something worthy of mention, and that is the finish. It seems that Hornby have actually been listening to the old reviews and they've improved the quality of the finish of the W1 quite significantly. The garter blue, as you can see, in particular looks incredible. Gone is that horrible flat plastic finish, and in its place you've got this wonderful satin finish which really would rival Bachmann's quality. So it's amazing to know that Hornby have listened, and ultimately the models look so much better for it. So expensive as the Hush Hush is going to be, the models themselves look as though they're starting to match that price tag, which is all you could really ask for, isn't it? So higher quality W1s, that's really, really good to see. The next major new development actually comes from Bachmann, who have made their autumn 2021 announcements, but within those announcements is a major development in itself, in the shape of this, a brand new release. It's an all new tooled Class 47, and there's quite a huge variety of them on the way already. These are ready to go within the next few months apparently. Now, according to the video that Bachmann posted, they have upped their game considerably with these new Class 47 models. These models are going to be based on original Class 47 drawings, and they include countless different detail variations, many separately fitted parts. They're going to have etched parts such as grills, wipers, handrails, etc., extensive underframe detail, a fully detailed cab interior, so the cab is fully painted. There's detail on the chassis behind the windows and grills as well, so that it's fully realistic. You've got a top quality mechanism, and it's good to see that Bachmann are actually taking reviews and such into into account, because they have placed quite a lot of emphasis on the mechanism this time and the heavy die-cast chassis, which makes this model heavier than Bachmann's previous Class 47. That's quite worth mentioning, I think. It also includes full lighting, including engine room lighting, which I think is a first for something like this. The thing's going to have 2 speakers, no matter what version you buy. You've got 2 speakers to give a greater range of frequency response. You've got twin motorised working fans, and they're not always on either. They're programmed to randomly turn on and off, realistically. And they've even got a simulated gold layer on the front windscreens, which gives a very distinctive reflection. Now, obviously, you'd expect with such great features quite a great price tag, and you certainly would not be wrong. The price is pretty high for these. The RRP for the DCC ready version, so that's no DCC, is £239.95, which places this at around £200 from the retailers. Now, that's probably about the going rate, and when you consider all of the sort of features that I've just described, it doesn't sound too bad, but, and there is quite a big but with this, if you do buy the £200 DCC ready version, you actually get quite a downgraded version of the model. So you don't get any motorised fans or anything like that. I think those are just going to be static or free to turn manually. And you also don't get the windscreen effects either, you'll just get the regular glazing. To get these features, you actually have to buy the deluxe version, which is actually over £100 more. Now, I don't know about you, but if I spend £200 on a model, I don't expect to get downgrades. I want to get as many features as I possibly can. But with the new Bachmann Class 47, that is not the case. You do get those downgrades. The good news on price though is that you don't have to pay an awful lot more to get DCC sound. I think the sound fitted 47 costs you much less than £100 extra. So the sound fitted models actually have an RRP of £339.95. But those are available for £285 to £290 from various retailers, which doesn't seem too bad actually for dual speaker DCC sound. And then the RRP for the deluxe version is obviously quite a bit more, £369.95 or £310 to £320 from the retailers. So it's bittersweet. Clearly this is a very, very high spec model with some incredible features. But then again, you do pay for the privilege quite dearly, don't you? So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how these turn out. Obviously, they're going to be amazing models. If you're in the market for a Class 47, you're probably going to look no further than Bachmann's. What this means for Heljan's upcoming Class 47, I'm not too sure, but I am fairly sure that Heljan are not going to be able to match Bachmann on features and particularly the quality of the mechanism and such. But I could be wrong. I guess we'll have to wait and see. That obviously isn't all that Bachmann have announced this month though. They announced their sound-fitted Class E1s or J72s, and those are a shade under £200 from the retailers, so that's not too bad. Those are very good models, by the way. If you're interested, I'll pop a link up there. And there is also a brand new addition to the EFE rail range. I say brand new, loco, it's actually been produced before by DJM, of course. But yeah, it is the Adams O2 tank engine in a number of really lovely looking liveries, actually. I did look at buying one of these, I think from Hatton's, but they only had the sort of less interesting black liveries available. So I was really pleased to see these. Not cheap, of course. The RRP is £149.95 to be sold for around £130 at the retailers. So I am hoping that the standard of the O2 is going to be much higher than the standard of the BT well tank, which was quite poor in my opinion. Again, only time will tell on that one as well, but I'm hoping to get one to try. The review should be along pretty soon. Next up then, a little bit of bad news. It's not so good, but it needs to be talked about because I know a lot of people have made plans for this. But basically, Warley 2021, it has yet again been cancelled. Now, it sounds like a strange decision because obviously a lot of the restrictions now have been lifted over here in the UK. But there's still a lot of uncertainty there. There's still no telling where we will be in a few months' time. And because the risk levels are all the time changing and because it's such a huge event, it would just be unwise to continue with it. But the club do say that they have booked the exhibition hall for 2022. There's a date, I think, yeah, the end of November 2022. So hopefully a Warley exhibition is, on the cards. And it's also good to know that one is in the diary at some point in the future. So yeah, unfortunately, this will be the second second year on the trot that we've not had Warley. I don't know, I'm missing it already, and it's still going to be over a year before the next one. But yeah, hopefully November 2022, that seems like quite a safe date, doesn't it? So fingers crossed it will be able to go ahead then. The next piece of news comes from Sonic Models, who are not actually known for producing 00 gauge models, but they have actually announced a locomotive in 00 gauge in the shape of this, the GCR Class A5, which is quite a large 462 tank engine. And the model appears to be quite far along as well. The engineering prototypes seem to be all done and dusted, and they're even showing a few decorated samples. Now, the cost of this model is estimated to be £149.95, which obviously is quite a lot of money from an unknown manufacturer. Bear in mind this is a hand-painted model, so it's not necessarily representative of the final model, but still quite a brave and interesting choice to use these photos to represent their £150 model. Come on, guys. However, the black version, I think this is the BR black version, does look a lot better. That one doesn't look hand-painted, and so it just, yeah, it sells itself a little bit better if you ask me. So we'll await more decorated samples, and I'm guessing given how far along this is, it won't be all that long before these are hitting the shelves, so I'll be very, very interested to see how that one develops. Next up, I don't always cover O-gauge news, but I feel like I've got to cover this one because it looks pretty fantastic. So it's an update on Dapol's O-gauge Class 66, or more specifically an early engineering sample for the model. And it looks to be pretty well detailed, doesn't it? The grills on there look to be etched, and already you can see there's a ton of separately fitted details. And the really crazy part is that the DCC ready version is going to be less than £100 more expensive than the DCC ready version of Bachmann's new Class 47, yes, in 00 gauge. So the retailer price for the new Dapol Class 66 DCC ready is £285.92, which makes the value for money quite insane if you ask me. And if you are interested in any of this stuff, I will include an affiliate link down in the description for you. The last update then comes from Heljan, who have posted an update on their upcoming Class 86/4 and 86/6 locomotives with this decorated sample, and it's a pretty smart looking livery, this, isn't it? I think there are more to follow soon as well, it's not just this one, and the release is expected to be Q2 2022, so not too long to wait on that. And they do have their new Great Western railcar in stock now as well. It is the AEC railcar, now with retailers, and I do have one of those to review, so hopefully I'll be able to do that pretty soon for you. Anyway, that is just about it for the model railway news. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah, quite a lot of interesting stuff happening over this last month, so glad to be able to cover that for you. As always, if I've missed anything that you think was important, do comment down below and let me know, and I'll consider that for next time. But for now, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you very soon. You look after yourselves. All right, folks, take care.